Last week, guys, you saw me go on my very first trail ride out at Soggy Bottoms near Sparta, Missouri. And I've got to say, the eRide Pro 3.0 with these MX33 Dunlop tires absolutely crushed it. I learned so many things, and I shared 3 pieces of advice that I had learned on my very first ride. If you guys haven't checked out that video, make sure you go back and check it out after you watch this one. All right, guys, let's jump right into this because I've got some upgrades that I want to do to this bike and modifications. And I also want to talk about the suspension and give you some of my knowledge that I have from my mountain bike experience. So some of you may have noticed that I have an extra screen on the front of my bike. This is my bike GPS. This is an iGP Sport IGS 800. And I put this on here because I'm going to be using this for navigation. But I'm going to go over that in a future video. But I wanted to share this if you guys were wondering what the heck is this extra screen on this guy's bike. So there were a few things that I learned on my trail ride, as you guys know. One of them was I want to get these brake sensors dismantled. So they caused me a little bit of trouble when I was in some tricky situations out on the trail. I don't want to have to deal with that again whenever I go back out to the trail. I've got a solution for this, but I want to thank everybody who made a comment in the last video giving me suggestions on what to do about the brake sensors. There was one in particular that made me decide to not fully remove these brake sensors. Then the main reason is because this person mentioned that the SR model has a way to toggle on and off all of these sensors. So there's really no need to remove them because in the app, you can just toggle it on and off. The 3.0 isn't there yet. eRide Pro, get with it, because I really want to use the app. But that's for another day, and hopefully eRide gets on it and gets the 3.0 owners the ability to sync up to the app. But before we start taking off the brake sensors, I want to put some flat out in both my front and my back tire. I was looking at this and it recommends on the bottle 8 ounces for the front tire and 12 ounces for the back tire. Okay, so next up, I'm gonna tackle taking the brake sensors off, or really just disconnecting them. I'm not gonna fully remove them because I have high hopes that eRide's gonna get that app going. I can reconnect them and then just toggle them on and off with the app. That's kind of the dream, but right now I'm just gonna disconnect them. So what I have to do to get this accomplished is remove this battery panel by undoing 2 bolts here, and then I need to remove the panel here that holds the USB port and the ignition, and that's 2 bolts right here. That's gonna give me really good access to the cables that are in there. While I'm in there, I'm gonna show you that Bluetooth dongle because it's interesting that it's in there, but we don't have an app yet. That just lets me know that it's coming, but hopefully sooner than later. So I imagine you've seen this angle from a lot of videos out there, but here's your breaker. You always want to flip that whenever you're disconnecting the battery cable terminals. Okay, we've got a couple of connections here. Looks like this is the ignition connection. This is running to all of your controls on your handlebar for switching between sport mode and all that. So this is very important. Looks like there's 2 connectors in there. Not the best heat shrink job, but yeah. I'm hoping that I don't see issues with water in these things. There's a lot of cabling here. I want to say it's probably this one and probably one of these. Let me see if I can pull one of these cables and see which one moves. And I bet this one's a brake. So this one is going to be our back brake right here. I don't think it matters if you get them unmatched up. So what I did is I basically grabbed the cable and I pull it, and I can see it pulling the cable that's leading to the brakes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to disconnect this one. There's one. I think this is the other one, but I'm going to double check here. Yep. So those 2 were the brakes. Okay, now we can put all the stuff back in here and then put our battery in and see if everything powers up appropriately. All right, let's see if she powers up. Fingers crossed. Look at that. Let's see if whenever I hold down the brake, if the throttle will still go. Yes, that's working. Okay, so this one, squeeze the front brake. Throttle still works. That's exactly what I wanted. Squeeze the back brake just a little bit. I can feel that tension building up. Nice, we got it. That was so simple, incredibly simple. My only worry is those terminals being open. I wonder if they make something that would actually allow you to plug something in the end to make those terminals waterproof. If you guys know of something like that, let me know in the comments below. All right, guys, I want to break in here real quick. If you guys want to get an eRide Pro and get some free pegs, you're definitely going to want to check out RevRides. I've got a coupon code below that you're not going to want to miss because you can get a $100 value on Warp 9 pegs for free when you pick up your very own eRide Pro 3.0. All right, enough of the plugs. Let's get back to the video. All right, guys, that's 2 out of the 3 things I wanted to get done. And man, this is working out absolutely perfect. Let's see if we can get the 3rd thing installed with no hiccups. If we can do this, then we can start talking about the suspension and how I currently have mine set up. All right, so I picked these up off of Amazon and they're made by a company called Acerbiz. I think that's how you say it. I'm not really sure, but I got these black and orange ones. So what's really cool about these particular ones is that you can take the insert out and you see how it's got little mesh holes that will allow air to flow through. So during the summer months, you can have a little bit cooler ride, or if you want to keep your hands warm, it's got a little insert on the inside and it adds some extra color inside the mesh holes. And I think it's gonna look really awesome with the ECD wrap that I've already got on there. All right, let's go ahead and install these and see if these things are gonna be any good. I'm a little bit concerned because these are actually made of plastic and I'm not sure how good that's gonna be if I run into a tree with them. But as long as it saves my hands, that's all that I'm worried about. All right, guys, what do you think? Do you think I made the right choice with this? My thing with all this eMoto stuff is I don't know what's name brand and what's not name brand. These kind of seem a little bit cheap. Is this a brand that you guys are familiar with? Is it name brand? Is it not? I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. I don't know if I've got a mountain ride or not, but I'm gonna do a trail ride really soon and I'm gonna find out real quick what I think of these. I want to talk to you about suspension. Now, the Moto suspension is brand new to me. I've been doing a lot of research on this, and I think I've kind of got a good idea of how this stuff actually works. There's a few things that I do have questions about, so if anybody in here is a pro or very experienced, maybe you can kind of fill in some of the gaps that I might be missing. Now, I'm not gonna go into sag or anything related to that because I haven't quite dialed that in. In fact, I don't even think we can set sag on the front fork because it's a coil suspension and there doesn't seem to be any type of tensioner allowing me to kind of adjust the sag. It does have what looks to be a 50-pound spring on the inside, and I'm pretty sure that a 50-pound spring or coil, whatever you want to call it, is probably pretty universal. Me being 185 pounds, probably a pretty average person riding this bike. But what I want to talk about is rebound and compression. Compression and rebound might be a little bit confusing, but it's actually pretty simple whenever you start thinking about the naming convention of them. Compression is going to be the thing that you're going to dial in whenever you hit a bump. That's whenever your suspension goes down, whenever you say come off a curb or come off a rock. That's going to be the compression of the actual suspension, whether that's the fork or the shock. Now, rebound is going to be the exact opposite. Rebound is talking about your suspension coming back from that full compression or whatever compression it had. So these two things are kind of fighting against each other or working with each other, all depending on how you have your suspension set up. If you have your rebound set up really fast, you can get that kind of buck feel where it feels like it's gonna buck you off of your bike. And I imagine that's the same with moto as it is for mountain bikes. And the same with the front fork. If your rebound is set up too fast, it can kind of hurt your hands because the fork is gonna be pushing the handlebars back up into your hands. So you wanna dial these in the best that you can possibly dial them in. And there's a little trick that I have learned with mountain bikes that I'm translating over to eMotos that seems to be working so far for me, but I still have to dial it in. Let me get out my notes here because there's quite a few little things that you're probably gonna wanna know. Okay, so let's start with rebound. So this is an inverted fork, meaning that the stanchions are at the bottom. That's what this shiny part is on the fork. Typically with a mountain bike, it's reversed unless you're riding maybe a downhill mountain bike or a bike with a specialty fork. Usually we don't see inverted forks on mountain bikes, but on motocross, that's really, really common. Typically your rebound is on the bottom of the fork, but being that this is an inverted fork, your rebound is actually gonna be up top here. And your compression is gonna be at the bottom. And compression's not actually labeled on this fork, it's just a little kind of flathead screw, but each one of these dials has clicks. And they're different number of clicks, and each click will affect the way the fork actually works. So for instance, the rebound on this one has a pretty impressive number of clicks, 21 clicks. You're gonna want to get a fast or slow rebound, all depending on how you have it set up. If you go with fast, you're gonna be going with a counterclockwise turn, and slow is gonna be a clockwise turn. So what I like to do is I start with it fully in fast, and then I count how many clicks there are, and then I split that in half, and then I go for a ride, and I see how that feels. I do the exact same with compression. The compression on this front fork has 12 clicks, so quite a few less clicks. So when I first started on this, I started right around 11 clicks in rebound and 6 clicks in compression, but right now I'm currently at 2 clicks in compression from fast. So I go all the way to fast counterclockwise, click it twice, and that's where I'm currently set at for compression on the front fork. Probably a little bit fast, but that's what I'm liking right now. And as far as the rebound, starting from all the way counterclockwise, I am at 16 clicks. That feels pretty comfortable for me right now, but I do feel like I'm gonna have to dial it in just a little bit more. Now, quickly, let's go to the rear shock back here. Super similar. You're gonna have your rebound is gonna be the red dial on this one that has the F and the S for fast and slow. And that one has 8 clicks total. I currently have mine from the all the way counterclockwise or fast setting, 2 clicks. That's a pretty fast rebound, but it felt much firmer to me, and I really felt more confident on my last ride with it. I'll probably dial it down a little bit slower, maybe a click or 2 on my next ride just to see how it goes. Now, as far as the compression, it's hidden way up in here in the shock, and it's a blue knob. That has 17 total clicks. And if I've used the term fast and slow with compression, I don't think that's the right terminology. They usually just put a plus and minus on there, so forgive me if I've kind of mixed the terms together. Rebound has fast and slow, compression usually has plus and minus. I currently have it set at 11 clicks from all the way counterclockwise. Kind of confusing, but hopefully I've got it displayed up on the screen here for you so you guys can kind of see. Just know that whenever I set up a mountain bike, I always find how many clicks compression has and how many clicks rebound has on the fork and the shock, and I go right to the middle. I ride it around, see how it feels, and then I dial it in based off of what I'm feeling. I don't know, guys, did I miss anything on this? I feel like there's a lot to this. There's a lot more science to this than what I kind of put into it. But if there's anybody who is really good at suspension knowledge, let me know if I explained that clearly and if I got it right, because that's just how I do it, and I don't go into a deep scientific method about it. Dial it into what feels right for you, because every rider likes their rebound and their compression just a little bit different. Whew, that was a lot, guys. That was a ton of stuff. We knocked out the hand guards, we knocked out the tire sealant, we knocked out the brake cutoff switches. I talked to you a little bit about my GPS unit, and we completely went deep into the suspension world. I'm fried. Now I need to go ride this bike. And I just want to say a huge thanks to everybody who has been commenting and been watching. Guys, we hit over 700 subscribers this last week. I am blown away. At this point, when this video comes out, I'm hoping that we're over 800. And if you guys can help push me to that 1,000 subscriber mark, I will be mind-blowing. Just remember, I'm brand new at this, and I really enjoy everybody who is commenting and giving me some advice. The community is growing, and I want you guys to be part of it. Whether you're brand new at eMotos like me and you're trying to learn, or if you're experienced and you have knowledge that you can drop within this group. But that's gonna do it for this week. I gotta get out on this eRide Pro. Tomorrow, I'm actually heading out to a local trail called Chadwick. So this is gonna be a true single track experience. I can't wait to show you guys what this is about, but you're gonna have to wait another week for that video to come out. So make sure you tell your friends and subscribe if you haven't already, because this eRide Pro is so awesome, you're not gonna wanna miss any of these videos. All right, guys, get out there and ride your eMoto.
Need a light.